Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. We're live on PLZ Soccer's YouTube channel. I'm Peter Martin, Alan Ruff and Tam Cowan here with me in the studio on this Thursday. Hopefully you are fine and well and ready to not only listen to a little bit of football chat but also engage with us as well. It'd be great if you can join us regularly on YouTube, and all you have to do is hit the subscribe button and hit the bell and you'll get all those unique notifications of when we have some great stuff for you to watch. And there's quite a few dream teams on there. Tam's picked his Motherwell dream team, which is well worthy of you viewing. These are all little short interviews. We've got a longer one, a one-to-one that's coming out in podcast as well now. A lot of people have been asking about the Gordon Strachan one-to-one, but you can watch Gordon Strachan on our YouTube channel as well. So with that in mind, now that I've kept you informed of it all, Ruffy's here, Tam's here, last night's football. We've got lots to talk about with regards to the game's top and bottom, where it didn't really change all that much. We're going to start though with best wishes, I think, from everyone on the football show to former Aberdeen defender Kevin McNaughton. Today, there was a couple of tweets come out that I think suggested that Kevin may well need a little bit of help. The news coming out is that the police have actually been in contact with him, and hopefully he's okay. And I think it's a lesson in basically, if you are feeling down, if there's something wrong, anything, a cry for help, there's always somebody out there who
there is always somebody there. The first person that I saw that was there today actually was Jamie Langfield, former teammate of his. I saw his message he'd put on Twitter, and it just simply said, Kevin, I'm going to DM you my number, please get in touch. And then there was another few I saw rallying around. Then the good news was, all of a sudden it was that the police had located Kevin, and you just hope now that, you know, he can get whatever help it is that he needs. And that, if you like, is kind of the nice side of football, where you know that there are people out there, and you think of the amount of friendships and relationships, Ruffy, that you built up and have built up over the past, 50 years. You always get that in Scottish football. You get nice moments. I don't know if you're talking about it later, but the tribute last night, very, very moving tribute when everything stopped at Tynecastle in the Hearts Celtic game for the wee boy Devon, who very, very sadly at that age took his own life. I mean, I'm sure there was quite a few kind of tears shed last night. And there is that side of football where, football people, football fans can show their true colours. And times like this, but you just wish Kevin McNaughton all the best.
Yeah, and if he gets the help that can obviously just give him the opportunity to move on in a positive fashion, more power to the likes of Jamie Langfield and everybody else who's chipping in to help. And I'm glad you mentioned that tribute last night, Ruffy. I have never in my life, and I've been to a lot of football matches, I have never witnessed what I witnessed last night at Tynecastle. I mean, there was obviously a show of support with the FC United tops, which I think Near Beaton and Craig Gordon were pictured showing the support for anyone, basically for people who've committed suicide. There's a support group, there's a support network, much like anyone who's feeling any kind of anxiety. And last night, obviously, everybody wanted to, both Celtic, the Hearts players and their fans and all the staff, all stopped. I've never witnessed, there's an applause sometimes at a moment in a game where the fans start applauding. Yep. The whole game stopped. The referee, John Beaton, was clapping, the officials, everybody, and the whole game, it was almost as if it was just, right, he's not going to take the kick out, and everybody started applauding, both sets of fans. It was heartbreaking when you know the backstory of young Devon Gordon, but I think if any of his family were there, they would have had a tear in their eye, because it was such a great show of support.
Yeah, it would have been very emotional for them, but it just shows you the good side of football. Quite a lot of times we hear the bad side of supporting fans, everything that goes with it at a game, but it's great to see them all united. It's great to see for the cause. And it just shows you in football sometimes that you can put a smile on somebody's face.
Yeah, absolutely. In very difficult times, and again, I think our support goes out to Devin Gordon's family. There was a great show of it last night at Tynecastle. Just some news before we get into the meat and bones of the games. Rangers look as if they're going to get Amid Diallo on loan from Manchester United, 6-month loan deal. I don't think that will be the last of Rangers moves because of the need and the players that they've lost.
Yeah, I think Hadji's a big one. I think he was banking on him, and right away, as soon as they knew he was out, the way he was identifying to the board, I need somebody in. We're still waiting in Goldson. We don't know what the scenario is there with Suter. So I think the next 4 or 5 days is going to be important for a lot of clubs.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll hear from Jim Goodwin, who's talking about the January transfer window and how it's unfair on smaller clubs. We'll hear from that shortly. But Tynecastle, rocking, bouncing. It was like a cup tie. 2 offside goals, a penalty miss as well. It had everything, Tam.
It did, but I've got to jump in. You know what I'm like with the refereeing fraternity. The minute you say 2 offside goals. Robbie Nielsen was pretty outspoken last night, but you know, Peter, until we do have VAR, and you know, Giovan Bronckhorst has mentioned it recently, Postecoglou has mentioned it recently, Robbie Nielsen talked about it last night. We can't overanalyse these incidents, you know, which are split-second decisions where linesmen and referees, linesmen primarily, do not have access to slow-motion replays after the event. It's very, very easy for the pundits, whether it's a live TV game or whether later on with highlights, to sit and pore over these incidents. It's very, very easy for the managers through their media guys at the club to get a wee sly look at them immediately after the game and then castigate the match officials. I just think it is really, really unfair. Both those incidents last night, they were they were classic Scottish ball hair measurement, you know, that's all that was in either. And then you've got the added bit of trickery, if you like, where I think particularly with the Hearts one, where you've got the defenders very quickly pushing out, the player very quickly going towards goals, and in a flash, in a nanosecond, suddenly it can look glaringly offside. But I'll tell you, when you're looking at the freeze frame both of them, I thought you could have argued that both of them were onside, and particularly when you say I thought you're meant to give the advantage to the attacking player if it is as close as that. But until we bring VAR in, you know, how dare MD have a go at the match officials who are trying their best?
But we've still to go through that pain, Ruffy. There will be the pain that the English football went through, where we start to really split hairs. I think there should be a defining, decision by the SFA to the match referees, wherever they decide that they're going to be watching this with this technology. I think there should be a decision that says, right, the definitive here is they've got to be a full body offside. See the toe and the arm, that would do your head in.
Well, I think that is going to change. I think down in England they're fed up with it, you know, so they're at the end of the season going to sit around a table and come up with some plan. But I agree with Tam, it's very difficult to call these shots. I would go a wee bit further and say it'd be easier to decide the Boyce one than the Celtic one. You know, I think the Celtic one, if it VAR, the toe, everything, but I think Boyce is more offside than what the Celtic goal was.
Yeah, and even the handball now, Tam, is starting to annoy people now, isn't it? Because I must admit, when we saw the replay, thought, right, okay, penalty. But when we looked at it, we thought, he's given a penalty, what for, you know?
I mean, they're strange. And then what I find strange as well, and there was 2 such incidents last night in other games, you're getting fans now going after not when the ball clearly just hits a player's chest. There was a couple of them last night, you know, and, again, but these are all things, Peter, that if we do bring VAR in, then they would sort very quickly. And as I saw last week in one of the English games, and I think, wait a minute, mate, calm down. You still find yourself seeing managers having a go at referees when they have had VAR. And you think, look, you're probably one of the bosses that was screaming to get this introduced in football. Now that it's introduced, that is the final say. That is the be-all and end-all, is the VAR decision. Back off. What?
No, Tam. What? Here's the drill that's coming, okay? The VAR people who are selected to work on the VAR, when they make a decision which you say is final, in this wee country, These people will then be investigated to see which school they went to, who they supported, which particular bar they're drinking in, who they hang about with, and then they will be called into question as well. Because that's what the draftees do.
I know. It's ridiculous. And I still don't agree with folk who say that the other side of VR, if you bring VR in and every decision is done and examined and over-examined, it's all very clinical, you're going to take all the arguments out of it, but you're not going to have guys sitting in the pub anymore chatting. But they will. Fans will always,
Listen, you and Ruffy could fight over anything. Robbie Nielsen did say, he wanted the ref.
He's ever had a fight, you two?
No. Do you know why?
How near have you? I mean, you've worked together for how long?
Never had a fight. Do you know why?
Why?
Because I am Mr. Angry and he's Mr.
Placid.
Laid Back.
I'm the same.
I could actually shout at him. In the first 2 or 3 years, I used to shout at him non-stop, and he'd look at me and he'd have the hush puppy eyes, and that's it. Gone. You can't even get.
The only place we fight is in the tennis court.
All right.
That's it.
Right.
I would shout at him there, but again, he's if he says it's out, it's out.
Could you both give me a name for the football fraternity, either on the pitch people or off the pitch people, press, media, that either of you have been involved in a punch-up with?
Oh, that's a good one.
Have you?
A punch-up?
An actual
argument.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
A punch.
Oh, absolutely.
Have you, aye?
Oh,
a name that the viewers would know.
John Morrison nearly broke my leg.
John Morrison, the BBC Gaelic guy.
Aye.
Is that right?
Chick. Fuck, can't
Is that
dog
right?
with him.
Aye.
And I love Chick Young.
Because Chick, did he know, he was accused of doing, was it an MP or an MSP?
No, the MSP did him.
Oh, is that what it was? Aye,
absolutely.
right.
They started a
Can't remember the guy's
22-man
name.
punch-up.
Aye, is that right? Aye.
But he was a rugby player, the boy who hit Chick.
Oh, right.
And that was only early in the game.
Were there rafters then?
But the referee called the game off 20 minutes.
Right?
We all looked at each other and thought, this isn't happening. But Chick and I used to boot hell at each other. It was great.
And what about you on the pitch? Did you never, I mean, you famously...
70-year-old and I've never punched anybody in my life.
I mean, you famously, and it even was recorded in an old Only an Excuse, when it was still in the old audio version, some would say the original and best, when you were apparently the only one that didn't get involved when Souness kicked George McCluskey.
Yeah, but to clear that...
stood watching it.
No, to clear that up, I'd already been booked.
Right.
So he didn't want to get a second.
The line in Only Excuse was, as usual, Ruffy wanted to get involved, but I was too slow in coming off my line.
Yeah, well, anyway, Robbie Nielsen wasn't happy with the big decisions, but over and above that, Ange Postecoglou at the end of the game said, listen, don't bother talking about the mistakes that you think the ref made. Celtic did the job.
I mean, a penalty looked like a handball to me. A goal, might be offside, I don't know, but again, I just think we spent too much time talking about those things, and I always look at the end of the game, who decided that game, and I don't think the officials decided that game. I think we did.
Yeah, that was Ange. Refreshing. I mean, he ducks and dives on various things that you want to get his thoughts on in a game. So, fair play to him. If you're winning the game, you can concentrate on the positives, Ruffy. And there were many positives in the first half for Celtic, because the boy Hatate has hit an absolute screamer. Giacomakis has had a lovely flick. And Matt O'Reilly, for a debut, for a guy who gave Celtic 70 minutes in that game, I thought he was outstanding. Yeah,
I think both Celtic Rangers managers are showing something we haven't seen for a wee while. They're throwing boys into games, guys that are just, signed, and you usually have to hang about for 2 months to see anybody. But now they're throwing them into the games, and they're getting rewards because they're coming up with the goods. But again, Celtic are good to watch in the eye in the latter third. The way they move the ball about is absolutely superb. Not being critical with Craig Gordon, but Craig Gordon sets the standards up there. He'll be disappointed he never saved that. Really. He got his hand to it. I think he tried to push it. I think he tried to push it around the post, and it just came at him so quick.
It was one of them that it seemed even, you know what I mean by this, when the ball was halfway between the player and the goal, it seemed to just suddenly accelerate as well, the ball. One of them.
Yeah, it was like a bullet. It was unbelievable.
You see a snooker player, they put like Jimmy White, when he used to love scudding the white round the table, maybe one with a lot of top spin, he hits it, and then it really starts moving round the table. It's a wee bit like that,
Yeah. The other thing that I think deserves special mention is the second half, because Hearts came out and made a go of it, and they started to press Celtic. I thought the manager changed his shape and brought better players, players that could have an impact on the game, and it changed the way Celtic were dominating, and Hearts suddenly come back into it, and they got a goal, and then the penalty. I think everybody, where we were in the press box, every Jambo was up celebrating it. They thought it was in.
Aye, it was one of these strange ones. Here's my mention of the 1991 Scottish Cup final.
Who was in that game?
But Dundee United, Dundee United had won that right at the start. Would have changed the whole complexion again. It was a free kick, the edge of the box, early doors, and I think it was Hamish French hit a shot. Freddie van der Hoorn might have tapped it to me, hit it, and it beat Ali Maxwell, hit the end, exactly like last night, ran round the back of the goalie and out to safety. And the only thing I'd say about the one last night, that there might have been still about 20 minutes left.
Yeah.
What a finale.
Oh.
They'd have been, if Hearts had got that, they had the whole, apart from 1,000 crowd on their side, it could have been pretty exciting.
Matt O'Reilly and Rio Hatate must have been looking and thinking, where have we landed? Because it was absolutely bouncing. It was incredible. The noise was fantastic. Robbie Nielsen certainly wasn't too happy with the first 45. As you can imagine, he was slightly pleased with what happened in the second half.
This tinge of disappointment. I thought we started the game very well, and then we allowed Celtic, who were a very good team, allowed them to be a good team for about after the first 10 minutes until we got to half time. And at that point we're 2-0 down and we're chasing it. So second half pleasing, first half I think we can be better.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. I think he mentioned, if anything, that you've got to get the big decisions right, and he felt referee John Beaton was just let down by his linesman on Celtic's winner.
Well, you could say that about their penalty kick and their goal as well. You know, it works both ways. I know managers tend to see just the things that affect their team rather than looking at the other team. I mean, Celtic had 5 or 6 chances. Craig Gordon had some fantastic saves. So it's what you see in your own eyes for your own team.
Okay, so Celtic got the win. Listen, there's a guy who watches this programme regularly, Ruffy. He's a big Jambo. He works for Hearts, and he's a great lad, Jim. He offers us some great little golden nuggets of statistics and everything. So Jim Ross, if you are listening, thank you, Jim, for supporting us. And he came up last night and just absolutely caught me on the hop. Now, he's given me 2 badges, but I left them in my jacket in the room there, Ruffy. But he gave us 2 Hearts badges, and he said, is there any chance you can get Ruffy to wear it as well? So
I'd certainly wear it in the house anytime.
This house.
Not my house.
This house. and Jim very kindly, and it's interesting, he popped up, he says, I found this programme, he says, it's a Celtic Borussia Dortmund when they met in 1987. Murdo McLeod was playing for Borussia Dortmund at the time, so he signed the Borussia Dortmund section there, and he gave me that. What a nice gesture, and he's given you some stuff as well, hasn't he, Tom?
It was, and I hope you told Jim you're expecting about $5,000 on eBay for that. Now he's given you with the best intentions. Aye, if it's the same fella I'm thinking of, when he told me before the show, rings a bell. He came up to me a while back. I was doing something in the Gorgie suite at Tynecastle, and Mullow's first game back, a game that no Mullow fan will ever forget. First game back after the tragic death of Phil O'Donnell was a cup tie at Tynecastle, January 2008, and that's the day, I've told you this before, Peter, but that's why back in the day I did some stuff for Hearts when they were in there having their troubles, and it was because having that Hearts did for Motherwell in that game. It was fantastic. The attitude for Hearts to Motherwell, the players, the club, the fans was amazing, but it was the match programme that day that I'll never forget. It was basically just, it wasn't like a normal match programme, just a tribute to Phil O'Donnell. And one of the times, just a few years ago, when I was at Tynecastle, if we are talking about the same boy, Jim gave me a wee clutch of them. And he said, oh, we'd found these Tam in a cupboard or whatever, they're yours, you know. And it was great because you talk about a brilliant collector's item. That was it. But aye, good old Jim.
Yeah, well done to him. Great to see him last night, and he loves watching the show, so fantastic.
So you were at the game at Tynecastle last night?
Yeah.
I thought I'd have seen you. I was at the Celtic FC Burn Supper. That was last night. Lovely meal, haggis, neeps and hatates.
Yeah. You know,
that's one for Cracker Jack.
I was actually saying, I can't remember who I was talking to about you in a complimentary way, and they turned around and I said, you know, the good thing about him, sometimes I can see the wheels turning, and I said, and even if I don't give him a gap, he somehow puts his 2 studs in and says, I'm going to get that gag in before we move on.
It wasn't the gag you were thinking about there. Cowan, was it a Celtic Burn Supper? It was the gig you were thinking of. See, how come I didn't get that? Aye,
That's
just
a
the
good-
fear in his eyes there.
A good shot. Do you like the Burns nights?
No, you know, no, I don't. I only do one. Ruffy did it with me a couple of years ago. My cousin, second cousin, Alistair Lafferty, me and him started doing one for about 4 or 5 years ago, Next Services Club in Motherwell for the St Andrews Hospice in Airdrie. And when we started doing it, and because I was one of the organisers, I said, we're not having a traditional Burns supper. Yeah. This might sound controversial, but a traditional Burns supper, where a lot of people take a lot of it way too seriously, is not the sort of night that Robert Burns himself would have enjoyed. If Burns went to a Burns supper, he would want to go there, get bevied, have a laugh, have a joke, be looking if there's any women, what are the barmaids like. That was Robert Burns. Yeah. But you go to some of them now and they're far too stuffy.
Anyway, 10 years from now, think about the money. We'll be doing a Ruffy supper.
I thought that was like a night out I would enjoy.
Anyway, positives last night at Ibrox. It was Rangers 1, Livingston 0. Now, I don't know, guys, if you've seen. I hope you've seen it.
Yes,
the goal from Scott Arfield is magnificent. I mean, you know, at times the skill of actually with the outside of your boot, but the actual thought process of thinking, listen, I'm just going to lob the goalkeeper here because Rangers huffed and puffed a wee bit, but Arfield with a wee moment of magic.
Yeah, it certainly was. I personally didn't think he had it in him. You know, you expect that. No, I didn't think. You expect that for one of the quality players. You know, there's some, you know, the player with a wee bit of frill about him, but no, you can't take any away from him. He knew exactly what he was doing. You know, and it just sort of floated over the goalkeeper. But I think Rangers were due the goal. They were hammering the Livingston goal all night. You know, saves and blocks and whatever. And Livingston are now becoming a really organised side when they don't want to get beat. You know, they might not want to win the game, but you have to work really hard to beat them, and they proved that last night. But Rangers thoroughly deserved the win, and you're going to mention that young boy who was, I thought, a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I mean, well, let's not go on to the young boy first. Let's get on to Scott Arfield, okay. He'll be raging at you. He thought he didn't have it in him, but I think Scott's a good player, you know, and that, I thought it was a wee bit of class in a game that didn't have much.
It was really, really livened tonight. I mean, if you're there, one of the Rangers fans, you were seeing almost constant possession. Ruffy's right with Livy about how organised they are. It was shades last night of their visit to Celtic Park earlier in the season, whereby for a late penalty, for Celtic they would have gone back down the M8 with a point, but it was maybe looking that way last night. As I say, I was in the position of watching the highlights last night, Peter, without knowing the results of the other games, which can be quite exciting, and it did look as if that was heading for a 0-0, no matter how much Rangers were pummeling Livy. But as you say, the young fella who'd been at the same school as my good self, Alec Lowry, our thoughts, and you just know right away he's got a future. Yeah. That's 2 games right away, and he seems to be, you know, on fire, and he's just a boy, you know.
Yeah, I think the general feeling is not the end of this season, but the end of next season, his contract will be up. But if anything, Ruffy, Giovanni Van Bronckhorst, like any manager, will say, okay, really good start, young man, take him out, then put him back in, or maybe, as some youngsters do, they grasp it right away, give him a run, see how he does, and then you know, say to him, listen, here's a great chance for you to work for a really good contract coming up.
Yeah, I think obviously the boy would want to play games, but with the amount of quality that Rangers have got and what they're going to bring in, you know, it might be difficult for him to play lots of games. I think that the best thing they could do is, he's probably not in the first team dressing room in the mornings. I would say, right, you're a first team player now, we're moving you to the where you are with the Lowland League boys. You're in with the big boys now, you're going to change with them in the morning, you're going to train with them. And I think that'll be a fantastic achievement for the boy at the age he's at. And then you just grow on that. You just let him be with the experienced players, and you can just see him getting better and better.
I think undoubtedly as well, maybe a wee warning, slight warning for the Rangers fans and the media. Just caulk Annie with the young guy they know, because I remember pal of mine, he still goes, season ticket now at Rangers, he must have been for 45 years, and the name he always throws into a conversation is John Fleck, where John Fleck had barely kicked a ball with Rangers, if you recall, and everything was, John Fleck, you know, and it can, I'm sure, affect a player mentality, particularly a young guy, you know. So I just hope they just let Alec Lowry go in and do his stuff. He looks very, very confident on the pitch. I mean, some of his wee moves, his wee shuffles, his wee bits of trickery last night, they were incredible when he would appear that he's bursting with confidence. You know, so, and for him to get that goal in the game against Stirling Albion, you know, that must have settled him down so much. But aye, let the guy get on with it and don't fill his head with nonsense.
I think the good, news about John Fleck is he's had a really good career. John Fleck.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think that's a good
but
thing.
You'll remember what that period I'm saying
tremendous
though, when he first brought it, was everybody was, you know, and just let the guy just come along gently. You know what I mean? You're not expecting miracles from him within 2 or 3 games.
No, you're right. And the other thing that's a worry for Rangers is, you know, with no Morelos, Hadji out, you're saying to yourself, okay, they've got one guy coming in, but Bacuna's been sold to Birmingham City, and now you're looking and saying, okay, can they move a few more out and get somebody that's going to make an impact in the team, because those two are proving to be a big loss.
Oh, no, I'm sure there will be players who'll come into Ibrox. You know, that's the good thing, you know, that because these boys are on good wages, and if you release them, obviously the manager can then look at the players they're interested in, you know, and if they come into that wage bracket, then you go for them. And it's unfortunate for the young boy that we're talking about, because obviously Aribo's coming back and they might sign another midfield player, so he's got his whole career in front of him. But I certainly think there'll be still a lot of movement in the transfer window.
How long's the window open for still, Peter?
End of January, and then the 1st it shuts.
Right, so we've got what, best a week?
Right, yeah, we're on the 27th.
Under a week. Right.
Yeah, so it'll be hear 'em, scare 'em, especially for teams that don't want to lose key players as well.
Do you think Tony Watt will go to Dundee United?
I think he will eventually, yeah. I think once he gets the right amount of money, he'll be off ski. Played well last night. Just thought I'd mention it to you. By the way, before I forget, it'd be remiss of me not to mention, Livingston played some nice football last night as well. Maybe didn't have the threat. Well organised under David Martindale, and I think slowly but surely, Ruffy, now, you know, some of our predictions are well wide of the mark, because I had Livingston to get relegated, but that ain't going to happen.
No, not at this precise moment in time. It remains to be seen. There is 2 down there, the now it remains to be seen. I think somebody will get dragged into it, because everybody goes on a bad run at some time. Some of them have had their bad run, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, Amad Diallo has been confirmed now by Rangers as having signed 6-month loan deal, but there's no option to buy, but nevertheless.
What was his price tag at one point?
I think it was 19 million,
right.
but that was Charlie Adam that set that in here 3 weeks ago. But the window will shut.
But I'm just
11 o'clock on Monday.
The minute you see a player, you know, his name preceded with an amount like that, he'll surely stand out in this league, will he not?
Yeah. Well, it's the big guy last night signed for Hearts, Ellis Smith. I thought he was really good. Ellis, I thought he, in the middle of the park, you know, he put himself about.
Yeah, I thought the boy they got for Australia last Saturday looked pretty impressive as well. The boy they got here, I thought he looked good, the white boy.
You can't remember
his
name?
He never played last night, but he was good at the weekend.
You remember his name?
No. Mackenzie.
Yeah, okay.
Name.
That's what he's like. He's unbelievable. Anyway, should we talk about your game, Motherwell?
Aye, that only take 3 seconds.
Well, I mean, I was just about to say to you, the manager's losing the plot. I mean, I did say to him, actually, at Celtic Park, I said, listen, Graham, is there any chance you're putting in the money for the boys for their night out? And I think he says he'll be able to get them flights and accommodation because he's been yellow carded, sent to the stand.
Yeah.
Same again with the Hibbies.
Well, I might actually have to intervene here and have a word with the chairman, because so that Mr. McMahon, our chairman, can have a word with Graham Alexander, because our image is a family club. It's, you know, it's going down the river with this thug on the touchline. I mean, it's happening. It is happening a hell of a lot of times, but and he was absolutely beeling last night with the 4th official. I think the only way to nip this in the bud with managers, because they always claim after they were innocent, I perhaps got a wee bit overheated, a perhaps, you know. The referees, the linesmen, the 4th officials, they're not up for sending these guys to the stand unless they have been completely out of order. And I think, look, could nip it in the bud. We've spoken about for years about referees being able to come out and explain their decisions.
Yes.
Certainly if they were able to come out and explain what, use last night an example, what Graham Alexander had said for him to be sent to the stand, that might embarrass him into not doing it again.
Well, here's the gist.
I must be honest though, can I say,
Yeah.
if I owned a club, if I won the lottery tomorrow in Bolt Motherwell, I think just because you get a better view of what's happening, formations, the players, I would sooner my manager was sitting up there anyhow, out the way, all that nonsense down there. You get a much better view. You can surely see the game better rather than the worm's eye view.
Yeah, it's a good point actually, but Graham Alexander, as you rightly mentioned, far from happy, didn't think it was a red card for Liam Donnelly.
To get sent off for that in a game against two teams that I thought both had competed really well, and I didn't see any maliciousness going on all game, but I think it's a harsh decision, and I was making my viewpoint made, but obviously I'm not allowed to.
Yeah, I love Graham Alexander. He's, I want to give my opinion, but I'm not allowed.
No. And when you get sent to the stand, does your assistant go away? I see Laz was up there. Well,
oh no, well,
Keith, just support them.
Keith sits up there anyhow.
Oh, does he?
Could you see him coming down the steps at half time, just a length of his eye. But no, I mean, as far as Liam Donnelly goes, the first one, the yellow card, you see that has been a yellow card any day of the week. You've seen loads and loads of them, right? The second one, it seemed that he went in a wee bit clumsily. I don't think there was much contact between Liam Donnelly and Hibs player, if any. And I always thought normally the second yellow, which results in the red, I always thought that was meant to be quite that second yellow, as if you're meant to have gone in a wee bit harder or done something a wee bit worse than the first yellow. You know what I mean?
Oh, that would suggest a lack of consistency.
No, I know it would, but you know what I mean. But I normally think, right, you've had your warning. If I need to pull out the yellow again, you're off. So, you might, but...
Who did you think deserved to win the game?
If ever there was a game, we've all used the expression, this is getting 0-0 written all over it.
Aye.
I think it was always going to be a draw last night.
You don't think Hibs deserved to win it?
No, I think it was only going to be a draw last night, to the extent I think the SFA and the Bookmakers Association should investigate.
Yeah.
Well, that was one of the predictions that Tam always predicts.
It was, aye.
None each.
I know, aye. But listen,
and I wasn't allowed to do it.
We're starting to get him to move towards being like half sane, Ruffy, rather than this bland 0-0.
10 points
Well,
last night.
Yes. Tim, I've got him watching English football. I've got him right into the Scottish footballer predictions. There's lots of things, and Tam's bringing things to the table as well, like a good restaurant at the end of season when he loses the predictor. No surprise, Sean Maloney thought Hibs were the best team.
I was actually really pleased with the performance. I think slightly disappointed we didn't take one of the chances that we had. But in these conditions, I got to be very pleased with how the team played. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, there you are. Short and sweet. Happy with the way the team played.
A bit like Sean Maloney.
Yeah.
On that note, one of my pals now, I got to know Sean a wee bit when he was doing quite a lot of punditry at the BBC. You'd maybe sat with him from all over away from him, Saturday afternoon watching the games. He's into date for sports scene. But one of my, who was it? Paul McNamee, the editor-in-chief of The Big Issue in Scotland.
All right.
He was in doing the radio a few weeks ago and he said, I was doing it as a seamstress. I thought, let's say, no, not just buttons or that. I was doing it as a seamstress in Shawlands. And he says Sean Maloney was in front. I don't know if Sean lives down there, if he's got a place down that way. Right. But he says he had loads of pairs of trousers. And he was getting them, obviously, what is it you call it? When you get it done to a suit or done to trousers. What's the word for it?
Made to measure.
He was getting them, no fixed, no repaired.
There's a
gag. No, what is the word?
Take it off.
He was getting them, but it's a general word. Altered. There we go, right? He was getting them altered. But he says he had loads of pairs of trousers. And I was wondering, because Sean Maloney, traditional, used to always do the jokes about him being a wee guy. So it can be tricky in terms of getting the waist of the trousers to go with it. It's like going for a pair of denims, maybe, Peter, and you can't get the waist and the leg. You either get big long ones or wee short ones. So I'd love to, if anybody knows, any Hibs fans watching, what the dimensions of Sean Maloney are in a trouser. It'd be interesting because he apparently had loads of these draped to his arm that he was taking in to get fixed.
And what about yourself? You ever had a designer suit that was made to measure?
Yeah, you know that tartan one I've got?
Yeah.
3-piece. That was made, great company who are, they're very well known in Glasgow, Slange.
Oh, yeah.
The two boys that run Slange. 1998 for going to the World Cup in France. I was with the Evening Times at the time, and there was some tie-in with Tartan Special.
Yeah.
And it ended up anyhow, can't mind what it was, Tartan Special, the Evening Times, and it ended up with me, courtesy of Tartan Special, getting a tartan suit, which was apparently in the colours of Tartan Special, for me to wear. I certainly take some photos with me, on going to the World Cup. So I wore it at the first game, Brazil, and the great Pelé. You know my story about being in next to him in the urinal, right?
Yeah.
I'm not boring you with that again. But that's what caught his eye when he was looking at me in the urinal. Always would be the suit before anything else. And he just pointed at the suit. Now this was the World Cup opener. I thought, maybe Pelé, like a lot of players, hadn't maybe stuck in at the school. It's a World Cup opener, Scotland against Brazil.
Yep.
I'm stood at the urinal as Pelé walks in with a three-piece tartan Bay City roller suit. Pelé looks at me, I can still see this, and he points at me up and down. Scotland. Aye, good you. No, Guatemala. You know, Scotland. Aye, good on you. But hey, I can all say it, Pelé spoke to me.
Now, am I right in thinking you would have made to measure suit? Because with those grey suits that you had for the World Cup with Scotland, the ones that you waved to everybody in the bus, were they all made to measure?
No, when we went to Argentina, you'll probably remember this company because they were friends of wee Jimmy Steele. Do you remember wee Jimmy Steele?
Yeah.
And at Hamilton, it was Dax. Was it Dax at Hamilton?
Oh, aye.
The jackets that Arthur Montford used to wear. We all got one of them.
Wow.
We all went up and get measured
Magic.
for one of these.
Listen, I'm going to mention this. Paul Brady says, Peter, I just want to put it out there. My diary is free when the team are heading to Social Recluse. Because we're on the move, Tam, and I hope you're going to make it. We're going to run a competition the start of next week.
Right.
It's the 10th of February. It's a Thursday. And obviously, from your own point of view, we're hoping you, Ruffy, myself, and a couple of the other boys on the team, and Ali and everybody will go along. We're going to Social Recluse in King Street. We'll do a wee hour, have a few bevies, and give away a few prizes, and let two of our viewers come along and
It's
enjoy it.
February the 10th.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in here on a Thursday anyway,
That's
so
what
we
I
go
was
right
thinking.
after it.
Straight over.
You don't do the show there? No, we're just
Well,
doing a wee.
No, we're going to do a show there as well.
Brilliant, right.
But make sure you get it on the invoice.
Aye, right.
But anyway, apart from anything else, because that's the only thing he thinks about. But apart from anything else, it'll be a wee bit of a laugh.
Good.
Get a couple of viewers who want to come along, and I think we're going to have Bob at Social Recluse is a genius. He's from Newark Hill, as most people that are geniuses are, Ruffy, and he's got some great gear in there, some great retro stuff. Anybody's into
What a guys for Botherwell have got great gear as well, eh?
Yeah, absolutely, but they're not coming. So as far as anything else is concerned, it's going to be a good night. I think a lot of people will enjoy the stories, especially your man here as well. He's good form.
Oh, be good.
On the after dinner circuit. Good form, one of the best.
One of the best. And this is a freebie. This one.
we'll get a drink. We'll get a drink out of it, won't
You'll
we,
get
eh?
a drink. Bob will organise a drink.
Right, good.
Please. Anyway, that's on the 10th of February. We're going to run the competition next week, and you and your partner could be coming along and having a laugh with us as
You
well.
and your partner?
No, you and your pal.
You're so woke.
You and your pal, because whoever your pal is, it could be two guys.
Can be.
Yeah. I'm going down a road I don't want to go down.
Exactly.
Don't bring your wife. Anyway, apart from anything else, thank you to all the people who are mentioned they're going to be involved in it. Now, Dundee United, left it late. Good performance by Tony Watt, who used to play for Motherwell, and Nicky Clark popped up with a double, the last one to win it. Was a good one.
Yeah. Tony Watt, 2 assists. He seems to be doing all his good work out in the wings rather than in the middle, but you've got Nicky Clark in there. I think they'll be disappointed in the centre half for the second goal. For Nicky Clark to out jump him. I mean, that boy must have been 6'4", 6'5", and he never got off the ground. But no, when you're winning 1-0, you think you're going to see the game out, and then it just turns like that. But again, handballs. I mean, you said at the beginning of the
he's not happy, by the
it's
way.
a nightmare.
Yep.
They need to get their head round that. I think we should just go back to deliberate handball. Somebody who sticks their hand out to stop the ball going to somebody or stop it getting in.
But they were never
This
different
one's
for
just
that.
bouncing off
Deliberate
somebody.
handball
You know why,
to
don't
me
you? Because
is
that's
somebody slapping it, punching it or catching it.
Yeah, but that's...
But you get so many penalties where the ball hit a player that was given and they said, I wasn't deliberate. You know, I've never been comfortable with that expression.
You leave it, Tam, to interpretation of a referee, you're goosed.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I think it's things stand with it. If your arms are kind of in at your body,
yeah,
and they're not out like that or like that, I think that's fair enough. And as long as we get a bit of consistency in that front with the arms thing, then I'm happy with
definitely
that.
there.
It just yeah.
No, it's not natural.
I know.
Like the boy,
Ruffy,
the penalty with the boy.
Give me the answer then. What's the perfect
I've said
answer?
that. If the ball's going in there or going towards the goal and you stick your hand out to stop it from going anywhere near the goal, or you stop somebody's shot deliberately.
Yeah.
You know that. I mean, the second penalty, possibly the one with the big centre half dives in and it hits his hand.
Yeah.
I'd get a penalty for that because the ball was going towards the goal.
Yeah. What if you fall down in the penalty area where the guy's coming forward and your hand hits the ball? And you take it in a different direction.
If it's stopping it going in, I mean, it's cheap now. It's
What
cheap
about-
penalties. It's cheap. It's cheap goals.
What about sleeveless shirts? Not like where you would have your both arms tucked inside your top.
Yeah.
There's no holes there or anything like that, and you've just got to play the game like that.
Yeah, no, I take your point. You're getting hacked off with it all, aren't you? I know, I can tell.
Leave it to the referees. You'll find that
consistency is a problem. Now you can't leave it to the referees because what's going to happen is VAR is going to come in and help them.
I think it will come in.
Yes, I do.
Think it will.
April, I think they'll sanction it because they'll look and they'll assess the money and they'll go for it. And then what I think will happen is, as ever, Tam, it's the percentage game. It will just reduce. It's not about absolutely eliminating all the mistakes. It will reduce the percentage of mistakes.
Do the players want to bring it in?
I think a lot of players will want to bring it in. There are a number who are quite happy who, you know, as professionals, I'm sure many a professional will not be angry when I say this. A lot of players want to, I don't want to use the word cheat, but they want to try and gain an advantage by hook or by crook to win the game.
Well,
that's professionalism.
Well, you mentioned the two instances, the one at the Rangers goal myth where it hits a young boy in the arm, and the one at Dundee United at the end. But all the players want a penalty for it now.
Oh, well,
they want a penalty. They're going out of their way to go, oh, whoa, penalty. And it's not.
Yeah, Malky Mackay wasn't happy. I'll tell you one player that I really, every time I see him, I'm well impressed with him. Regan Charles Cook for Ross County. I think he's a good player.
Yep, he's definitely one of the better signings. I can't remember who he came from, but I think he scored a few goals since he's been up here, and he's one of these players that defenders don't like running at them.
Yeah, before we look at the league table, by the way, St Johnstone 0, Dundee 0, didn't quite end up with one under real pressure, didn't resolve anything at the bottom end. The two of them are still in the mire, but for me, I was happy that he managed to steady the ship. I like both Callum Davison and James McPhee.
Yeah, and I think with Callum particularly, I mean, because that's a scary run they've been on, and you know, confidence must be at an all-time low. They've now been bumped out of the two cups that they were the holders of. They were the only upset in the cup last week. You know, all the other so-called wee teams who were quietly fancied to knock out a so-called big gun never happened, but that was the one and only result. Kelty Hearts knocking out St Johnstone. You know, horrible stuff. You saw the reaction the players got as they were leaving the pitch. So that was a huge game for him last night, and I would imagine, and to be fair to Callum, he didn't come out, and I thought, I wish I could get a bet on it. Callum coming out and saying, well, we'll take a point, it's our first point in 11 games, so you know, it's a positive, I think he knew himself that he'd obviously have sooner have won that game, but it's suddenly looking very interesting because it's like Dundee and St Johnstone a wee bit attached, and I think at this stage, I think either one would accept second bottom and get into finally a playoff, you know.
Yeah, I think you're right, can't argue with you. Here's the table, how it looks at the moment after the midweek card. Not too much change at the bottom, still the 2 points there. Ross County, if they had got a win at Tannadice, that really would have left Dundee and St Johnstone feeling detached, as Tam mentioned earlier there. Livingston just above them, and then you've got St Mirren, Dundee United. What a great win that was for St Mirren against Aberdeen. Aberdeen sitting in 6th position. That won't be good enough for them. And Rangers and Celtic, still the 4-point advantage for Giovanni Van Bronckhorst's side. And I think Robbie Nielsen viewed it as an opportunity missed last night where they were hoping to get within at least 6 points of Celtic. Didn't materialise. Talking of Aberdeen, Scott Brown just says, toughness isn't the only thing missing in that Aberdeen dressing room. There are a number of issues which I don't think he's certainly not happy with his captain, and Stephen Glass still has to try and work out how they get a bit of consistency to their play.
Yeah, that's the word, consistency. We've seen the good side of them, we've seen the bad side. But when you're wanting to be the team that's challenging the top three, you need to win games. You need to win 2 and 3 games in the bounce, and they just haven't been able to do that this year.
Yeah, and Stephen Glass also mentioned that Ryan Hedges has been affected, Tam, with all the transfer talk. Football, just go out there and play, just enjoy yourself, for God's sake.
And the minute, and Raphael have said it in his time as well, you hear it for so many managers, coaches, ex-players, that how their playing days, they were the best days, Bernal. We love, still miss it, just going out there, joy of joy, Peter, me and you would have loved to have done it, to be able to go out there and play football for a living, and I'm pretty sure that, far too many excuses trotted out, when players cross that white line, they should be able to forget about everything else and play the game they love.
Would you have, if it was the ultimate dream for you and you could go back in time in the DeLorean and they say to you, look, you can play football for a living, would you have wanted to have played for Motherwell to make your name if you were, or would you have thought to yourself, I might have to have...
Oh, Motherwell, as a fan, that's the only, and the dreams that you have in that, that's the only team that you're ever playing for, Yeah. Albeit they sort of dreams, and it's not I'm up front with Kelly Brook and Melissa Messenger, but it's a strange one, but you still, I always dream of what it would be like. This is a recurring dream I have. You score a perler for Motherwell and you run, and where your pals are sitting, where I sit now, just take that the most joyous moment possible after you've scored the raker, and to think that you get paid for that. We all know it is a short career, and certainly in Scottish terms it is only the absolute tip of the iceberg who will cream in enough dough to not have to worry about a thing the rest of their lives, but it must be great, and everything else that comes with it. I was even looking at stuff today. It was a female of my acquaintance who's a Celtic fan. I think she's. I don't think she'll be able to get back to a Celtic game. For the minute last night she saw Matt O'Reilly, she reckons he is the best looking guy in the history of Scottish football. Yeah. And then I saw something that she'd put on her social media, and they were all following up with it and all that. You know what I mean? So you imagine you're Matt O'Reilly, right?
Yes.
You're playing with a big club like Celtic. You've got the looks, you've got the smile, you've got the eyes, you've got the body, you've got the sports car. You can have any partner you want, and you're getting paid for it. It must be amazing.
He's putting a lot of research.
It must be incredible. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd sooner see it from my point. I like the fact, I can read a book and stuff, but these professional players, what a life. Yeah. What a life.
Anyway, apart from anything else, listen, even if you are a mediocre player nowadays, you could be earning millions and millions of pounds. What about the predictor? Has it changed? Has it altered dramatically? Well, I thought it was a night, Ruffy, and it was a night at one point where I thought I was going to make a huge difference to the top of the table, because Dundee United and Ross County was 1-1. I was all set for 5 points, and suddenly I get nothing out of that one. Alison stretched her lead. I've dropped down to third. You're in second place, and then it's McManus, McDonald and Tam, who very graciously has taken the place of Gabriel, who was sitting next to me last night at Tynecastle. Yes, he's Radio Clyde head on.
And I should have got 10 points for that, but 3 months ago I told you he was going to Radio Clyde. Hey, he's been on STV as well.
Well, I know, somebody mentioned that.
I saw him in a restaurant.
Aye, they were doing Vox Pops with the restrictions being lifted and not having to get table service in a bar. And I was it's like watching an episode of Taggart, and you see a place that and you're trying to place it, a location, And so he was in a bar up, I was trying to work out where it is. It was up Byers Road, or maybe Ashton Lane, and there was a bald Gabe sitting there, Still not very good on camera. Very wooden.
Yeah, do you think so? Well, that's why
I didn't want to say it at the time.
Let him go.
I had a bump him a while ago. It was awful. That David Livingston.
Do you know what we'll do? We'll send this clip to him. That will annoy the life out of him. Anyway, apart from anything else, good old Gabe. Good to see him. Now, just before we go, don't forget we've got that competition coming up next week. Well worth it. Thursday night, Social Recluse. My old mate's got a fantastic shop in King Street. If you get a chance and you do a bit of shopping, great retro stuff.
It's just next to the Shawarma King.
Is that the restaurant?
It's not, it's just a wee takeaway. It's literally just down for the bottom of King Street at one of the arches.
Yeah.
And it's Turkish. And they do the most amazing, freshly made lamb, chicken, kebab things. Wrapped up in a big kind of Turkish flatbread.
Wow.
We'll go there after it, my treat, right?
Well, that's magnificent, Ruffy. I think the road's closed at the moment. You can still get into the shops, but they're filming Batman or something down there.
Batgirl.
Yeah. Well, it'll be finished by the time we get there.
Right.
So we'll be fine. And hopefully you and your pal will be coming along as our guests. The competition starts next week. And you'll get something to take away with you as well. We will give you a wee goodie bag of something, Ruffy, which is good.
Is it just 2 people that are coming to see us?
No, but there's other people.
Right,
There's other.
Is that an open invite?
No, there's other people coming to it.
So up until Thursday, February 10th,
Yes.
you are putting out the chance for viewers to come and join us on the night.
Yeah, 2 people.
Oh, just 2?
Yeah, because...
So what are we doing when we go there?
Well, the rest of the place is sold
Yeah,
out
that sounds
already.
like something we should chat about off here,
it's
maybe,
sold
but it
out
doesn't
already.
matter. Oh, it's sold. Oh, it's in front of an audience.
In front of an audience, yeah. Well, we thought we'd do it in front of people to ask
No,
us.
it's a brilliant charity. I'll be more than happy to help you.
Look at Ruffy. You want a wedge. It's a Stonewall certainty. Just before we go, Jim Goodwin, not happy. I wonder what your thoughts are on this one. He thinks that the transfer window in January is just all about the rich clubs that can cherry pick who they want.
Yeah, it's a real frustration of mine this window, to be honest, because your best players are up for grabs, and teams out there can weaken our team, and we don't have the resources to go and replace them as what we would like to do. So, I would be quite happy for them to do away with this January window. I think all the recruitment that you should be doing, the most important business needs to get done in the summer. And if teams make mistakes during that particular time or sign the wrong players, then so be it.
Yeah, that January transfer window, I think it's to the detriment of some clubs who want to hold on to the talent. I mean, he's in a dilemma where I think the next 3 or 4 days, Jamie McGrath eventually goes.
You know what? It all seems... Right, we can leave, if you don't mind, I'll leave Jim Goodwin out now. Here is a wee scenario that I found very, very interesting last night. You had the Hearts fans booing John Souttar in his previous game, right? When he's going to Rangers on a pre-contract. Hearts are hoping that Rangers will come in with the money, which would appear that is still very much going to be the case. And I thought then last night, would the Hearts fans, presumably, because nothing's changed, boo John Souttar again? But they didn't.
No.
And there was many a time when he was getting a challenge and that, they were really cheering him and all the rest of it,
He made a goal-saving challenge at one point.
It's the whole thing about pre-contracts. What's going on there? Is it because if any club is up against Rangers or Celtic, you're never going to go any of your own players. That's the big night where, come on, get into, we're playing one of the Old Firm, da-da-da.
Would you
have
buy
you
in?
also
Would
get
you
the
buy
bit,
in? Yeah, but
but
would
you
you
also get the bit, let me finish, have you also get the bit where Hearts fans are saying, you know what? If there's ever a game John Souttar now wants to win, it's this one, because he's effectively a Rangers player and we're playing Celtic. So don't even think about booing him tonight. We're going to get the best performance for him ever. The whole thing is just a bit messy.
Well, maybe he was thinking to himself, if I could do Rangers a turn, join them in January,
Exactly.
I might get a championship medal out of this one.
That's what I'm saying, aye.
But the point I was going to make, and I know it's very rare on his BBC show where anybody interrupts him when he's in full flow. The point I was going to make to you was, could it have been that it was the immediacy of it, so the Hearts fans got a chance once he'd signed it, the next game, now we'll give you the...
There may have been a bit of
you
that.
know?
I think first and foremost, and it'd have been the same if he'd signed a pre-contract with Celtic, I think it's that attitude that we've all got in Scotland when you don't support Celtic Rangers. You see them as being the gruesome twosome, the ugly sisters, 2 cheeks of the same backside, etc., etc. And they're the team that you, again, in the odd occasion that you manage to get a result against either of them, as I've said to you before, Peter, they're the nights you absolutely just definitely go out for a few drinks after that. You've got to celebrate.
Yeah.
So I think there's an element of that. But the whole thing, as I say, I'm not comfortable with it.
He's signed a pre-contract. What happens if he doesn't go to Rangers in this window and then Hearts play Rangers? What happens there?
Well, he plays.
He plays, aye.
Questioning his professionalism.
Yeah, he plays, right. Say he plays and he scores 2 goals.
Yeah.
For Hearts against Rangers, and Rangers lose the league.
Yeah.
Or worse, say he plays and scores an OG
I don't
to help, to seem to be helping Rangers.
Yeah,
what the fans going to do then? That's where it's all a mess.
I know. I don't agree with the pre-contract, Robbie.
That's all. I'm just giving you an instance of how the pre-contract is a.
But I'm not.
It's not the real.
It's not right.
No.
But I wonder about the questioning the players' professionalism. I wonder, does it enter their mind? Some people are only human. They're open to these things in their mind. But nevertheless, just before we go, 2 good bits of news for Rangers. Amad Diallo has been signed on a 6-month loan deal from Manchester United, which is great. If you're a Rangers fan. And the other part is, the other great bit of news for Rangers fans is they'll get to see Erling Haaland, because he's fit, ready and happy to play for Borussia Dortmund against Rangers.
Well, I don't know if they'll be happy that he's fit, but certainly it's great to see players like that coming to your ground. That's what as a supporter, you want to come up against good teams and good players, and this boy certainly is on the right road.
Yeah, he's been struggling with a fair few injuries, but this season he's managed, I think overall he's hit 80 goals in 79 games for Dortmund. So
quite tasty.
Can you imagine if you're Conor Golson looking at oh my God, I've got to mark him.
Absolutely.
And and by the way, he's a big boy.
Aye, and that's exactly. I think Motherwell could still be doing another goal scorer. I'm hoping. I'll say that out loud before the window shuts. Tony Watt, all joking aside, tasty ball that he put in for Nicky Clark last night. I'm sure the goals will come for Tony at United as well, but I don't think you can take goals like that out of a team like Motherwell and no feel it. And it almost get a wee bit rubbed into our faces last night when Kevin Van Veneveld an absolute sitter, which he sclaffed, it kind of swerved. He was only 3 yards out and managed to hit it about 6 yards wide. He could blame the conditions again last night, but that for me in a nutshell told me that we could be bringing in a striker.
And the point that quite a lot of people, and thank you to so many people who post messages for us, is Hugh Scott, who says, Peter, it happened before when Jordan Jones scored the winner against Rangers after signing a pre-contract, which is where I think a lot of people who are professionals, they want to play to the best of their ability for the club that's paying them. Yeah,
as I say, it wasn't quite as immediate as that, but the example I always go back to is when Scott McDonald, who created Skippy Sunday, right? The Antichrist as far as Celtic fans were concerned. But then he moved to Celtic and, good professional. And then he proved that again. His first game at Parkhead against Motherwell, he scored a hat-trick. So, he was then a Celtic player, doofing his old team. And when he was with his old team, Motherwell, in a game that Celtic were there to win the league at Fir Park, he took the professional approach as well, as a Celtic fan as well, and he went in there and he did what he was paid for. So that's fine, that's all you ever ask of players.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, hopefully you've enjoyed the banter. Don't forget, you can listen to it in the podcast as well. Great, thousands and thousands of people. Thank you very much for downloading the podcast. We're really happy with the figures for the podcast as well. If you're going out for a walk with a dog or just going out for a walk in general, sometimes people like to listen to it at their own leisure. If you miss the game here, the programme talking about the games of last night, you can download the PLZ Soccer app and you can watch the programme at your leisure as well. It's got all the latest breaking sports news in football in Scotland, England and in European and world football too. So well worth it. Download the PLZ Soccer app. Good chat today. Thoroughly enjoyed Tam's company and of course always enjoy Ruffy's company. Hopefully you'll join us tomorrow when the great news, Ruffy, the big news, I have it on good authority, right? Because he sent me a text saying, I hope the big man can pick me up because I'll be in Cumbernauld. So the Bulgin, Charlie, will be here with us. Charlie Adams back on the settee. Our old mate is back, selected in the team. How do you feel about that?
Good, fantastic. Just let me know where I have to pick him up.
That's good.
Are you driving?
Yeah, absolutely. You're a bad man. Anyway, on that note, thanks for watching.